It's Wednesday, and we visit with the mayors. John Nichols here this morning from the city of College Station. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. Just catching up on my sleep and my time adjustment from Japan.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a minute. First, I'd like to start on the passing of a former city council member, Larry Marriott. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, Larry was a great leader in the community, not only certainly in the business world, as everybody knows. His legacy is strong there, and he leaves a great business and a great family-run business behind. But beyond that, of course, he worked with the city in planning and zoning, I believe, and then back in the 90s, early 2000s, he was on the city council and several terms, I guess it covered. And out of that, I think he understood how to communicate with council persons and during my time regarding business-related issues, land use, land development, regulation on buildings, and that sort of thing that he was obviously impacted by. He had a really good way of engaging council members to help us understand what the business issues were, and he was not afraid to reach out and make introductions and help us to move our city agenda forward.
Yeah, certainly. Pebble Creek was not there. It was kind of a lot of room out there to do a whole lot of different things.
And he did a whole lot of those things.
He did.
A lot of concrete on the ground. There's a lot of people living in homes. What do you call it? Aging in place addition that we did at our house a few years back was done by one of his subcontractors, and he oversaw that. So, yeah, his legacy is great and be great, certainly a loss to the community.
Sure. So we did talk to Mayor Gutierrez last week while he was in Japan. You were as part of that group, too. I'd like to get your thoughts there.
Yeah, it was an excellent trip, very well organized by Susan Davenport and the whole team there at the BVDC. We had 8 people on the trip. It was we were very well hosted by, I guess, 12, 15 different businesses there over the 5 days, working days we were there. It's an interesting country and very high technology, very carefully developed, a lot of new buildings, new technology around the major cities, particularly Tokyo. I was very impressed with that, how they handle traffic, and it was amazing. And compare that with trying to drive through Manhattan and New York City, where you're gridlocked all the time. We were not gridlocked there. I mean, this is a way of managing traffic and managing people, and we were moving between businesses quite a bit on the highways inside the city. Got a great overview of how the bullet trains operate. I think Bobby made a comment or two about that on our introduction to their technology and their training programs, their safety programs, and so forth. It's a culture that is carefully organized, very competent, and very welcoming. We were very well treated on our entire trip. I would say they are the companies there. The economy is somewhat stagnant. I wouldn't say stagnant in a negative sense, but it just is not growing very fast because the population is not growing. So they've got a lot of corporate cash, and so they've got to look to grow those corporations overseas. And foreign direct investment in the U.S. has been here for a long time from the Japanese. We made a pitch to consider our area, the center of the Texas Triangle, as a place for some of those Japanese firms to look to expand and grow. And we do have a couple here in town, and there's quite a few in Texas. So we were just sort of putting the flag in the ground and sharing our views and our ideas and welcoming them to come visit us.
Yeah, nice to at least be able to be at the table with those people. Yeah. Let's go. This is a busy week for College Station. We've already had one event last weekend. We have a couple of events coming up this week. What have you heard as feedback from your different departments?
Well, regarding the experience last weekend, it was extremely positive from most everything I've heard. The crowd was great. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. There were not any significant police incidents or vandalism or anything. I talked to one of the policemen who worked Northgate on Saturday night, and he said it was very routine, even not any difficulties at all. I think the biggest difficulty we had was with code enforcement and police handling all of the itinerant vendors that seem to come with these kinds of events, and they don't necessarily think ahead to get a permit, and they set up wherever they want to, caused a lot of safety issues that both PD and code enforcement had to be involved in, and that that took a lot of their time to manage that side of it. The paid parking event, we didn't cite anybody. We didn't issue any tickets. We don't have the data on all of that till we finish the second week of this pilot project, which will be a lot different this coming weekend because of a bigger crowd. However, keep in mind the university has a lot of vacant parking places in summertime, so I think what we did is help to level out that parking and help the university fill some of their spaces as much as it was parking in Southside. There were cars parked there, and I'm sure we generated some revenue, but we'll have a better report next week.
One of the discussions they said, what the city has said, is this revenue, any revenue that you capture there, is going to be used as far as public safety issues and handling those expenses in College Station. Are there any other sources of revenue besides that could be used, though?
Well, every football weekend, we do provide a lot of overtime and a lot of managing that. Certainly, the general revenue budget is where you pay for overtime, you staff up, and you pay for all of the additional traffic control, which is another big part of those big weekends. And I think we'll see that with a much bigger crowd this weekend. So it's an alternative. Yes, we simply would like to utilize this paid parking program if the pilot works out as a way to manage congestion. One thing is that maybe more people could park on campus and they don't all have to park in the neighborhoods. And that would help to mitigate some of the congestion issues there, but it also generates revenue, absolutely. If you can generate, just say, $500,000 a year over 10 or 12 events, that's equivalent to a half cent on the tax rate. So you're generating revenue that offsets other expenditures that you would have to make anyway out of general revenue.
If you're not inconveniencing your citizens, then that's a good thing.
I think there's always inconveniencing on any football weekend. If you drive through or try to walk through the south side, I do all the time. I park in a friend's driveway over there, and it was you're always going to have congestion and issues of illegal parking and that sort of thing by operating the paid parking thing. We're not changing any of that. We're simply generating revenue. Now, as far as considering the citizens in that neighborhood, I think that's something we're going to have to do when we get beyond the pilot thing. We've got to come up with some way to allow the citizens that live in that neighborhood to have access to one or two parking places on the street. That can be done with some time to plan. We just couldn't do it in the short time period we had.
Sure. Council meeting tomorrow night. What's on that agenda that catches your attention?
I think the most interesting thing for the public is, if they want to watch, is an update on our capital plan. Jennifer Kane, who is the director of our capital projects, we've some 90 plus projects underway. She does an update a couple of times a year, and this is one of her presentations. I think people want to tune in on that.
Excuse me, I'm doing two things at once. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I just was saying it. I was listening to something else in my ear here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the capital plan update would be a good one. We got a relatively short meeting, couple proclamations, and a few other things that we're doing.
Tell us what we've got going on as far as Post Oak Mall. We haven't talked about that in a while.
Post Oak Mall. Well, we haven't heard anything publicly from the university, but I think it's clear that we need to be moving on with our other options, and there are a couple of other interested parties. We're in discussion with them. That those opportunities are right there. It'll take 6 months probably to work through some of that. I don't see any big problems there, but I don't know that I can count on the esports program from the university at this point. I guess they're still working through what they want to do, but I don't think that's likely to be the final outcome of this. We'll see.
Have you heard anything else from the university other than the esports? Is that the only thing that they seem to be looking at?
Yeah, that, and of course, along with that was the virtual production facilities, and which is really high priority for that new School of Performing Arts. I think those two would come together if they were going to do anything, and I think probably they've got to sort out their cash position, what they can afford to do, and we don't see them aggressively pursuing us on that front. So we got other options, and we've told them, and they understand that, and they indicate to us that we should keep other options moving forward, and And we'll get to a point where there won't be any further discussions, and the university will just disappear from the dialogue.
Got it. All right. Anything else for us this morning?
Well, I just want to comment that coming up on this next week is Juneteenth holiday. On that's 19th, but on the 18th is a celebration. The Freedom Walk will be from starting at 9 a.m. on the 18th from Lincoln Recreational Center, and they go out to the George Bush Library. It's a joint activity, and then at 6:30 in the evening on Juneteenth, on the 18th, I should say, there's a program at Lincoln Center for those that are interested in the celebrations that surround that great day. The other thing that you'll get more from shortly is our July 5th I Love America at Wolfpen Creek. Lions Club of College Station has been doing that sort of thing for years. Without the fireworks, it's kind of languished a bit. But this year, City College Station is going to start its signature 4th of July celebration with fireworks and drones at Wolfpen Creek, jointly with the Lions Club, which will provide all of the usual funds to kids' games and food opportunities and all of that, the vendors and things like that. And then the city is going to provide the fireworks and the drone show. So it'll be on Friday night, July 5th. So you're going to have the Relish campus activities on the 4th. You can go to those if you want to, but you'll have a first-class fireworks show in College Station. And this is intended to be an annual event jointly with the Lions Club to kind of resurrect what we've done with the Bush Library and elsewhere, all the way back to Tiger Field when I did it in 1976.
I remember that. Well, kudos. You put together a Christmas parade and fireworks in
That's
short
the idea.
order.
Is kind of two signature events, one in the middle of summer and one at Christmas time that Parks and Rec and the entire, well, I shouldn't just say them, but the entire city staff will be involved in. And we'll have two really exciting experiential things for our citizens to be involved in. People have been waiting for the fireworks to come back, and the city's in a position to do that now and build our own program around what the Lions Club has done for years.
There you go. All
So
right.
that's exciting, and those are a couple of highlights that I had written down. I would say if you're, Colin always reminds you, but if you're really interested in what's going on at council meeting, go to blog.cstx.gov. He does a great job of providing a forward-looking blog, and then during the meeting, he will be online. So you can watch it on Channel 19, or you can follow his blog, because that's really how you be informed, and you don't have to come to the meetings.
There you go. Thanks for the time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
You
Bye.
bet. Visit the Mayor's on Wednesdays.